ladies and gentlemen, get ready to get inspired and energized as we welcome our guest speaker, Amanda Gore. One more thing, Amanda. Stop. I just want to give a little bit of background on Amanda. Amanda's a businesswoman, award-winning USA Hall of Fame speaker, a celebrated author, Huffington Post columnist, and the CEO of the Joy Project. With her unique blend of humor, storytelling, and science, she has empowered countless organizations to transform their workforce culture. There's more. As a physical therapist, I know you said you need 50 minutes, we'll give them to you. As a physical therapist with a background in psychology, Amanda brings a wealth of knowledge on how to boost productivity, sales, and well-being. Her infectious enthusiasm and expertise has captivated audiences all over the world and nearly 1 million YouTube viewers. I am positive she will leave you with practical skills and a renewed sense of joy. Let's give a warm welcome again to Amanda.
Sorry, Rosita. Thank you. Thank you. I hate listening to all that stuff.
I got this feeling.
That's why I jump up here. So I have to say, you can tell from my accent, I'm from Dallas. And no, really, I'm from Australia, but I'm really from Virginia Beach now. And you heard I'm a physical therapist, so if your back is facing me, like that person who thinks I can't see him in the dark, can you make sure you turn around? Because otherwise you're going to have a very bad neck at the end of this. And then the other thing I want to do, I don't normally start like this, but I would just like to bow, basically, in honor to you. I've talked to maybe 20 or 30 people in the last 12 hours, and you're amazing. Like, how do you do what you do? How have you been on these boards for 300 years, and you have 48 other jobs, and you're running some other significant business? I haven't spoken to one person who just said, oh no, I loll about and do nothing except for this. So, first of all, thank you for what you do. If I had children here, I would be thrilled to have people like you looking after them. Don't clap, we haven't got time, seriously. You can clap yourselves later, we really haven't got time. So, first of all, I just want to get a gauge for the group, because this session is for you. I'm doing a breakout afterwards, and that's more kind of a work thing. But this is more for you, because what do you guys actually do for yourselves? You seem to be spreading yourselves so thin. No wonder burnout's an issue here and there. But it's interesting because burnout seems to hit people who are not as enthusiastic, engaged, and as passionate as you are. Have you noticed that? People who get burnout, a lot of them, seem to only have one job. And none of them do a quarter or a tenth or 100th of what you guys do. But part of the issue with that is that you rarely take time out for yourselves. And to just highlight that, how many of you wake up every morning full of energy and vitality? Yeah, okay. First of all, the sound tells you the answer. It's like a ho, ho, ho. And we had about 6 people who looked like they were being honest. How many of you get to the end of the day then full of energy and vitality? Oh, well, there's normally one, but nope, you guys win, none. How many just want to remember what it was like to have energy and vitality? Well, that's kind of my job here, although a lot of it depends on you and how you look at life. And there are a couple of stories I wanted to share with you first. I wrote a book called Joy is an Inside Job ages ago, and I wrote it in Vermont, but I went back to Australia after that to live, and I was looking for a school that would implement the principles of the book, because I really thought we need to be teaching joy at school, because goodness knows that our children are not learning it in many other places. And so I found one school principal in what do you call it, elementary here. Is that like kindergarten, little kids? So up to 13. And we started a program where we implemented the concepts in the chapters of the book into the school, and it had a profound difference. And what's more, it changed the community, because we started focusing on joy at school and the elements that made joy up. One of the key ones was gratitude, and I'll come back to that in a bit. But a lot of people now in the corporate world will say, well, why are we focusing on joy and not on the bottom line? Because it deals with one of the core issues you're dealing with. When you create a joyful school environment, community, that sort of thing, it decreases turnover 51%. I mean, that's substantial. And it decreases burnout, according to Harvard. I have to say according to Harvard, because it decreases burnout 125%. I don't know how you get 125%, but Harvard says you decrease burnout 125%. So these are two really significant reasons that joy matters. And the other thing that I like to say about joy is that it stands for, well, you guess, it's J-M-M-T. I'll help you. J-M-S, just, O-M-M. One, Y-M-M. Yes, just one you. Joy is just one you. There is just one you have just one life, and what we choose to do with it every day and how we choose to look after ourselves is up to us. Sadly, there's no one else looking out for us saying, you look a bit tired, why don't you give yourself permission to have a break? It doesn't happen really, does it? Unless you get someone shouting at you, you're very grumpy, stop. Those are the sorts of things that make us stop and think about how much time we might spend on our own looking after ourselves. And the Dalai Lama I heard speak once, and he talked about being wise selfish versus foolish selfish. And I would love to encourage you all, as we start this session, to become wise selfish, if you're not already wise selfish. And that means to give yourselves permission to do the things that recharge your batteries. Because this is one of the most enthusiastic, engaging, inspiring groups I've been with. And yet if you don't keep feeding, you know what it's like if you have a fire and you stop putting logs on the fire's going to burn out. Hence burnout. And one of the core things is giving yourselves permission to take care of yourselves. So these are the kind of fundamental things. But the other story comes from a school that I went to. I won't tell you what state, but it was another state. And it was this fabulous public school with the most dedicated, amazing principals, vice principals, there were a lot of them, and teachers. And they had a superintendent. And that superintendent obviously wasn't from here. And that superintendent was a political, power-hungry animal. And I didn't spend that long with people from this school, but oh my gosh, what an impact this person had on them. And if it were not for these dedicated, amazing people, all of those students would have suffered. In fact, the entire community was suffering as a result of a single individual who was like using the position in all the wrong ways. So I say that because of the influence that you potentially have, all of you. And if you started to take a focus on joy and focused more, and I know, you're all struggling for funding and there's legislative changes and the government's doing this and you don't know what what's around the corner and everything's uncertain. And I don't think that's going to change for a while, do you? I think this is the land of the 20, 25 plus years. Everything's up in the air. I don't know about the funding either, and I know that you're out there passionately fighting for it. And now we've got teachers who are changing and schools who are going to 4 days and doing all sorts of different things. So this is just going to be the norm. If you can focus more on yourselves and taking care of yourselves, which doesn't mean you exclude everything else. In fact, you'll be better at everything else. And if you can focus a little more on joy consciously, then I think that it would help make everything else easier. Because you've all heard of the bell curve, haven't you? You all know the bell curve. And I have this lovely, by the way, your team from TASB, they are seriously amazing. I've been speaking over 35 years, and I've done a gazillion events. Your team are right up in the top 5 of professionals I've ever worked with. They've done a really wonderful job. You get to clap for that, but only a short minute. So, Thank you very much. I'm really grateful. So here's the bell curve. Now, normally I don't have notes, but when I was preparing for you guys, the bell curve, the right-hand side had so many things on it, I had to actually take notes. So you know the bell curve. You know that once you've got more than 3 people, you get a bell curve. And it's always, there's this small number who are super fabulous, and then there's this huge average group in the middle, and then there's these people. So let's go to this group up here. And by the way, I suspect in this room we have a kind of a subgroup. So we have, in this successful area, we have a subgroup bell curve. And I'll come back to that in a minute. But as I'm going through this, be really honest with yourselves. Be really honest. No, nobody else is going to benefit from this, but you could. And certainly not going to make a difference to my life. But as I go through it, be honest as to where you fit into the curve. Because that then gives you a sense of direction. I mean, people can come along and talk to you and give you skills and strategies, but it's not the same as you deciding to make a difference for yourself. So, the people up this end, the so-called successful people, and honestly, as I've done this, I do this with a lot of people, but you've got the longest list of anyone I ever met, I've encountered, seriously, for you to be good at your job. You are people who are really courageous. So the people who are at this end, you exert influence on others, and mostly in a really positive way. You actually care about people. And you know, that caring, we have to start to consider creating a culture of care. Because who are we leading? Starts with H. Humans, very good, yes. We're leading humans, even though some of them are addicted to their phones and didn't even notice. And so when we're dealing with humans, have humans changed much in the last, I don't know, 1,000 years? No. Humans have hardly changed at all. What really matters to humans? Hint? It's connection and care. How much do they feel cared for? You know, people leave bosses, not jobs, don't they? And if you're the boss of 33 companies, which a lot of you seem to be, go you, because you must have a good, caring culture, creative ability, because people stay in a culture where they feel cared for. And there's an amazing book called Everybody Matters by Bob Chapman. He runs a company called Barry Waymiller. Ever heard of Barry Waymiller? They make widgets, manufacturing company. And it's a global multi-billion-dollar company. And the difference is that it was acquired, it's grown through acquisition. So it's very unlikely that you get a company that grows through acquisition that has awesome culture. But that's their benchmark. And that's how they've been so successful. And one of the core drivers is that they treat everybody in every company that they have as someone's precious child. And they have created that culture of caring. So if you can emanate a sense of caring, which you think you do, and I'm sure 90% of you do, you know, well, maybe 10% do, and the rest try, if you can project that and a sense of joy and focus on that, then it's amazing how things do change at a cultural level. So that caring is really critical. Your early adopters of change, that says change, early adopters of change, I haven't got time. You use compassion rather than judge. So versus judgment. And that brings me back. If you think about it, how compassionate are you with yourselves? Because this is a room full of people with enormous hearts and enormous integrity and a sense of dedication. And you commit yourself to everything else. And what about you? What if you're exhausted sometime? What if you've been going non-stop for months and you just know that you need to stop, but you don't because you put everything else in front of you. And so, again, remember, this is an opportunity for you to self-reflect because self-awareness is one of the key, that's a self-awareness, is one of the keys to being a great leader and to being someone in a community that inspires others. to model what it is that you want to see happening. I mean, you know, it's the old, there are so many truths in the old sayings, aren't there? It's do what I say, not what I do. So model what it is that you want to reflect in the community. That self-awareness is critical. These people actually feel good about themselves. And I'll come back to that in a minute. It's really critical, feeling good about yourself. It changes everything. They're realistically optimistic. That says optimistic. I remember the what do you call that? Oh, is superintendent? Is that the word? Just went out of my head. The superintendent, the one I was talking about before, was an incredibly negative person who would bag the teachers. And do you say that here? Bag the teachers? Do you know what that means? But belittle. He would, you know, make bad comments about the teachers and about the kids today and the students of today and public school systems. He would say terrible things about them publicly and in the community. Well, what does that foster? You know, when you're in the positions you're in with such significance and influence, every word that comes out of your mouth when you're in public and, you know, kind of semi-public places, you have to be aware of. So being realistically optimistic is critical. It's also a really important leadership skill. And you know, this is through years and years of me studying the different aspects of leadership, the emotional intelligence, those sorts of things. And these are the kind of so-called soft skills that are coming to the fore now as some of the most significant leadership skills you can have. You are diplomats. Remember, this is this end of the curve. Diplomats. It says diplomats. You know, it's kind of hard to write and speak at the same time when you're saying different things. So integrity is the other one. I've been really struck by the integrity of the people I've met here. All of these things, the people I've met, they've been demonstrated. I added a whole lot more to this list last night. And these people have a sense of joy, which is a really important thing. Because how many people die, and as they gasp their last breath, they say, I wish I'd spent more time at work. It doesn't happen. And I know life is about a journey where we have experiences, and the richness and the depth of the experiences create who we are. And that, you know, most of the time those experiences suck. And, you know, it just, but if we don't consciously choose joy, it's there every day. Like I woke up this morning, I couldn't sleep. I don't know why I couldn't sleep, but I couldn't sleep. And I'm tossing and turning, and I kept getting hot. And any man who hasn't had a hot flush is missing out on nothing. And I thought I was way past him, but gee, it must be Galveston. Anyway, I woke up this morning at about 4 o'clock, and I'm like, oh. And I looked out the window. It must have been a bit later. And luckily, I've got this fantastic room, and I was looking out over the ocean. What is in the ocean here? Like, ew. Anyway, I was looking out over the ocean and choosing joy, and the horizon was bright red, and you could just see the sun starting to come up, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I chose, because, you know, I'm trying with this stuff myself. I'm on a journey too. It's not like I wander around in a state of bliss and joy every day. And so I'm working with myself too to find moments and choose joy. So I took a photo. Of course I took a photo. Instead of standing there appreciating it for 5 minutes, I go, oh, I must take a photo. Which brings me to another point. How many times do we miss being present in an experience, actually feeling it, versus taking a photo of it? How many of us are guilty of that? And I didn't think about that till this second, where I was there and I took about 30 seconds to look at the view and go, wow, excuse me, look at that, wow. And I thought, I must take a photo. So I took a photo and then I stopped. But if we took the time to just stand there and appreciate the beauty of the sunrise or a sunset or a flower or, I don't know, a green leaf or a very brown ocean or something. There are so many things that we can look at with reverence And it would make a difference to us because we would become present. And being present is another key factor for people in this group. And if you took nothing away from this session except to remember to be present, your life would change. Because if you were present in every moment with every person, then everything changes. But in this world of utter disconnection and complete being stuck on our phones, how many people are on their phone right now? And unless you're taking notes on what I'm saying because there's something significant that you want to remind yourself about, you are not present. And I would love to say, oh, I've been a champion of presence all my life. Oh, yeah, it's been really easy for me. It wasn't until I was about 60, I'm 70 now, it wasn't until I was 60 when a man who was mentoring me, because I've always been into growth and development, said to me, you've never been present a day in your life. And I went, what? And do you know, I started to look at it. He was right. It was horrifying. I don't think I'd ever been present because of what happened to me as a child. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I had lived my life in terror. And I didn't walk around going, oh yeah, I'm living my life in terror. I know that. But I was. And I only really discovered that about a year ago. But I have been working on being present much longer. But seriously, if you walk away from today, this morning, and you make no other decision except to be present with every single person you're with yourself when you're on your own, and with an experience when you are having it, your life would change. And you would start to have more energy and vitality. Because it is exhausting to have your brain in 47 different places when you're in another place. And if it's constant, you will never have energy and vitality. So, the next one is I said speak, I didn't say this, that says speak positively. This is going to be scribble, and you'll be able to look at it afterwards, and with your amazing memories, remember exactly what I said. But we're also videoing this, so you can get a copy of the video if you'd like it. These people are collaborative, that says collaborative. They are full of gratitude, that says gratitude. Because gratitude is the master reframer. It changes everything. And it's a conscious choice. And we're going to come back to conscious choices in a second as well. These people know themselves. This is another one of the key qualities of great leaders that is hardly spoken about, but is written in a whole lot of the Harvard Business Review and the Forbes and the more serious magazines. But it's not really highlighted. It's written about, but it's not really highlighted. Knowing yourself, knowing who you are, knowing how you operate, knowing how compassionate you are with yourself, how present you are in different moments, how consciously you're making choices, how much fear rides every decision you make. All of these things transform the way you interact with other people. And what's more, I wasn't going to do this, but I have time. Maybe. Oh, okay, let me do this with you. Look. This is, I hope these are not sticky. Damn, they're sticky. This is you when you're born. This is the essence of you. This is the astonishing, joyful bundle of energy that is a baby. Now, people are going to sit there, the ones this end, they're going to sit there and go, babies just sleep. Babies are amazing, astonishing little beings that are full of light and love, aren't they? In between crying, eating, and pooping. But in between that, are they not? And do they not light your hearts up with joy? That's you. That is the essence of you. That's how you came in. And what's more, when the sperm hits the egg, do you know there is a flash of light? Seriously, there's a flash of light. It's scientifically proven. I like to think that that is you coming in. You are an astonishing being of light. And just to embed that, on the count of three, by the way, the people at this end are very engaged and they're enthusiastic. The cynical people are down this end. This is the end where people judge. They blame. They make excuses. They're full of fear. This is a growth mindset. This is a fixed mindset. What else did I have on this list? Oh, these are the manipulative people. They manipulate. They're political. They believe in separation, conquer, split and divide, whatever that is. And these are people who are victims. In a nutshell, these people suck. Now remember, you're being honest with yourself. The people who are actually down this end right now, they're sitting in the room going, she's a bitch. I know I shouldn't say that. I'm in Texas and I'm in America and it's a really bad word, but honestly in Australia we use it kind of as a term of endearment. Anyway, so we do. If you've been there, we do. So seriously, the people who are at the suck end, they're very offended. They get offended so easily. And these are the sort of people that when I ask them to do the exercise I'm about to ask you to do, they're going to sit there and go, nah. And you know the worst ones? They're the ones that look at you and they go, I'm going to look like I'm doing it, but I'm not. You know the type. So on the count of 3, I want you to turn to the person on one side of you. Make sure you've got a person either side, okay? If you're sitting by yourself, stop it. Just stop it. Because these people are connected. They're ones who are very happy to be sitting with other people and connecting with them. The ones down this end, they just think all that connection stuff sucks. They'd rather be on their phones. So on the count of 3, you're going to look at the person next to you and you're going to look deeply into their eyes. See, notice, I'm giving you an opportunity to work out where you are on this curve. If you're sitting there going, I'm not going to look into his eyes, I'm a bloke, and that's another bloke, and I'm not going to look into a bloke's eyes. We are all humans. There is a human sitting next to you. If you want, you can think, I am looking at you with the eyes, the love of the eyes of God. I don't mind how much love you put in there, but you are looking at another human being. And if you're not willing to do it, and you're not willing to look into the eyes of another person's soul, and you're sitting there, you're judging. I'm not doing that. Men don't do that. No, but I don't know that person. They're a stranger. Are you kidding? You are some of the hardest working, biggest hearted people I've ever met in my life. So, on the count of 3, with enthusiasm and love in your heart, you're going to look deeply into the eyes of this person, and then you're going to say to them, you are an astonishing being, B-E-I-N-G, of light. See, look, these people, they're going, not yet, wait till I count to 3, wait till I count to 3. These people, they're saying, oh, this sounds like fun. This is going to be good. These people are going, this sucks. So I haven't said 3 yet. Stop. Come back. Wait. There's more to do. There's more. So you're going to do it one side, say you are an astonishing being of light. Then you're going to turn to the other side and say the same thing. But please, woohoo, come back. We haven't got time. Do not do this. Do not be looking at the other person and go, you are an astonishing being of light. We're going to make eyeball contact. We are connecting heart to heart. It doesn't matter what you do, you are sitting next to another human being. And if it's so bad you have to walk out of the room, it's a hint. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Looking in the eyes, you are an astonishing being of light. Now the other side. You are an astonishing being of light. Awesome. Okay, come on back. Quick! We haven't got much time. Quick, come back. Awesome. Now see, that wasn't so hard, was it? So, now we're going to come back. Woohoo! Come back. Hi, you're an astonishing being of light. And then guess what I had for lunch yesterday? And then come on back. See, that wasn't so hard. Now, the group in the middle, in case you couldn't work out which end you were on, the group in the middle, this is the vast bulk of people. They're called average. And these are the people who live life and they're obliged. They're resigned. This is what I do. I've done it for 40 years and nobody else ever puts their hand up. Well, no, because you've been there 40 years. And, oh no. Oh, it's all right. I thought I used the wrong pen on the something significant, a tragedy. So, this person that you looked at on either side of you, now I want you to pay attention to how you respond to this, okay? Because this is a huge hint for where you fit on the curve. It's a huge hint for how well you know yourself, okay? So this person on either side of you that you had just deeply connected with, heart to heart, because we're humans, and humans don't do well head to head. They do very well heart to heart. This person, from this day forwards, is your official joy buddy. See? Now, these people, come back. Stop talking. These people, they are saying, awesome, I've always wanted a joy buddy. This is fantastic. Oh, what a great idea. These people in the middle, they're going, yeah. How long is she on for? These people, that's ridiculous. I knew I should have sat somewhere else. Now, people laugh when I say joy buddy and they think, oh yes, that's a silly thing. Do you know how important a joy buddy is? Especially for people like you? Because they are a resilience buddy and they are an accountability buddy. And you guys have a sense of responsibility up the wazoo. You will turn yourselves inside out for a community or for children or for someone else. But you don't do it for yourself. So I would like to set you a mission, should you choose to accept it. And that is that even if your joy buddy was a complete stranger, that you exchange phone numbers and you make a commitment that you speak to each other maybe once a month. And see, these people are going, that's a good idea. That's like mentoring. That's like, yeah, I'd like an accountability buddy. These people are going, once a month? I haven't got time to scratch myself, let alone once a month speak to someone else. Add that to my list of everything else to do. She must think I'm an idiot. Do you realize? Oh, there was a guy called Michael Gerber who wrote a book called The E-Myth. And the E-Myth stands for the entrepreneurial myth. And he wrote that most entrepreneurs fail because they're too busy working in their businesses to take time out and work on their businesses. Life is the same. Most of us are so busy working, running around like chickens without heads on in our lives, we don't take time out to work on our lives. And therefore we end up completely devoid of energy and vitality, and then we get sick, even though we've been the most giving person on the planet. You think about it. How many really sick people have others saying about, oh, but they were the best person ever. You know, they would do anything for anyone. Yes, because they never did anything for themselves. So one day the body says, that's it. I'm done. You better take care of me because I'm not carrying the can anymore. So your joy buddy is there to help you focus more on yourself and your joy and you giving yourself breaks and being present in the moment and giving yourself permission to take time off, to be wise selfish, to have a vacation and not be at work the whole time, to do the things that really recharge you. And they don't have to be massive things. It could be, and this actually really works well. I've been practicing this and it works like a charm. If you find a way, in other words, you make a decision to have 10 minutes of stillness every day. Now, 10 minutes is not that hard. Sometimes you can do it. I've been practicing when I first wake up in the morning. And in the stillness, you try to stay in your heart. Because in the beginning, what happens is your head's going, blah, 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 I got a million things to do today, blah, 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 blah. And you've got to keep reminding yourself to come back down to your heart. But it hasn't taken very long, and I've been able to develop a minute at a time of stillness and peace. And hopefully I'll be 2 minutes soon. I think the other day I actually made 5 minutes. I was quite stunned. But it's really astonishing because it's kind of like this reset for everything in your energy field. And it kind of brings you back to this essence, the essential part of you. Because what we then have is that every other aspect of our lives revolves around this essence. But, and this is really critical for you guys, because particularly in the position you're in, we know from epigenetics that from 0 to 7 is a really fundamental time for people, for children. Between 0 to 7, it's when we tell ourselves the stories that become the core fears, that become the core beliefs that run the rest of our lives. So between 0 to 7, we tell ourselves the stories that I'm going to share with you in a second very, very quickly now. And those stories, so we come in as like a brand new fabulous computer. It's state of the art. It's got every shiny, whirly gadget. It does everything. And then between 0 to 7, and it's got a perfect source operating system, right? Source, S-O-U-R-C-E, operating system. Here we are. 0 to 7 comes in and malware gets inserted. And that malware corrupts the code. And the rest of our lives, every relationship, every job, everything that we do, how much care we take of ourselves, is run on the corrupted code by the malware. So what we're about to do is to start looking at the malware. So what's the difference that makes the difference between these three categories? And by the way, please make a commitment to connect with your joy buddy, your accountability buddy, and your purpose. Your mission, again, should you choose to accept it, is to focus on yourselves, not on work. So joy buddies, you ask each other, how are you going at looking after yourself? What have you done since last month that really boosted your energy and vitality? What did you do to spend time with your family, if that's really important for you? Or riding a horse, if that's important for you? Or walking your dog, or, I don't know, anything. Working with your grandchildren, spending time with your children, recognizing your partner in life, that you haven't seen for 3 weeks. So, what's the difference that makes the difference between these three? And it is your T, K, it's really hard to do this, I-N-G, what is it? Your thinking, it's your thinking. Now also, we find out from epigenetics that 90-something to 90-something% of the time, we are literally unconscious of what it is that we're thinking. So what is it? It's 95 to 99. 95 to 99% of the time, we are literally unconscious of what we're thinking. And so that means 1 to 5% of the time, you're making a conscious choice. We're completely unconscious of the malware that's driving us. And that's why your accountability buddy is going to be so important too, because you can start to become more conscious of your thinking and start to make conscious choices about your life, about the district, about everything. Because that was significant. Because what happens is that this malware is all fear. And the fear, if it drives a decision, then it wrecks everything. Anything that comes from a decision made in fear is bad. It's going to end up badly. And the trouble is that the fear is really sneaky. You have to look for fear. It's amazing how sneaky it is in terms of decisions. So if we go back to this, one of the key things that you need to become, if 95 to 99% of the time we're literally unconscious of our thinking, to change that, to become a conscious person, to become someone who consciously chooses wisely, we have to become an V-E-R. What is it? Observer, yes. You have to become an observer of your thinking. So it's really critical, become an observer of your thinking so that you know the stories you're telling yourself And you can check whether they're true or not, because I want to share with you the 3 core fears that are embedded by the time we're 7. I got the trifecta. Most people have 1 or 2, but I managed to get the trifecta. So here's the first one. It's a double whammy. I am not worth loving. That's the first one. And it comes usually with, I am not good enough. Now, Joy Buddies, we are very limited on time. So I want you to do this exercise, but then say nothing else, okay? Just look at each other and say nothing, because we have to keep going. So on the count of 3, Joy Buddies, you're going to turn to the person next to you on one side that you've already bonded with, and you are going to say to them, with your heart in this, you're not going to say it in, I'm so embarrassed I'm doing this, I can't believe I'm doing this. You're going to look at them and say, you are so worth loving, and you are so good enough. Now, not yet, wait till I count to 3. Stop, wait till I count to 3. And then you're going to do it to the other side. Now, before we start, think about how you're doing this. Because these people are going, oh, this is awesome. Oh, that's really great. I'm going to do this with my children, my grandchildren. Yes, please. The people down this end are going, no, that's too far, not doing it. Stretch yourselves, because this is going, come back for a minute. Because you don't know whether the person next to you has ever heard this in their lives. And you will be surprised at how many people tear up when you do this. So try not to make it about you feeling stupid about doing this, because that's one of the fears. Make it about touching someone else's heart and speaking authentically, because every single person in this room and on this planet is worth loving. Every single person is good enough, which doesn't mean we can't grow and develop, but we are good enough. You are absolutely worth loving. So go, prove it to the person next to you. On the count of 3, Joy Buddies. 1, 2, 3, go. You are so worth loving. You are so good enough. You are so worth loving. You are so good enough. How can you be doing this while you're looking at the phone? You two up the back. Aha. They're listening to a message. Come on back, come on back. Quick, come back. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Now, the second core fear is I am unsafe in some way. Please, as we're doing this, will you remember that this applies to every child in a public school? And please, will you remember that bullies and the troubled children at the school and the ADHDs and all the other ones that you have will have some of these fears. And this unsafe one is really common if there's an alcoholic or a mentally unwell parent. Very common. And with school environments these days and what you guys have to put up with and the amount of, possibilities of what could go wrong, there is just a thread of unsafety in the area, isn't there? So being conscious of it makes a difference, and knowing that it's a core fear for a lot of people helps us manage things more effectively. And then the third core fear is that I'm separate. That's it, separate. I don't belong and I don't fit in. And belonging is something that is absolutely critical, because in terms, you got those 3? You can come take a picture of it later on. At the end, there's going to be a QR code, so do have your phones handy for that, because if you snap the QR code, it'll take you to a site where there's a whole lot of free stuff that covers a lot of this. Not this stuff, because I wrote that specially for you. Now, the other thing that I normally do, but I might write something up for you later, is these are the sciences that I integrate: neuroscience, epigenetics, emotional intelligence, and quantum physics. I've been studying it since I was 17. In the middle is the sweet spot, and this is where you want to live, because we get information from all these sciences that changes everything. I call this the joy spot. Not that one. Gee. Whoa. You know, there's usually two responses. One is there's a snicker that goes through the room, and the other is this profound silence. You guys just won the prize for the deepest silence. Do you know, in the classrooms at the primary school, every classroom had their own joy spot. Because little kids don't judge that. They just go, it's a joy spot. You go there if you feel sad. And if you go to the joy spot, people come and hug you because, you know, the kids in the class know you feel sad. Kids are so smart. But the other thing, so we've got your Joy Buddy, and it's really important you remember to take your Joy Buddy phone number and take their connection with you. And then the other thing, your mission, next mission, should you choose to accept it. It seems to me everybody wants to be a CEO, CIO, CTO, CFO, something O. You can walk away from here today if you haven't already got a C in your name, and you can call yourself, when people say, what? You can say, I am a CJF. Guess what that is? Chief Joy Facilitator. Isn't that brilliant? So if TASB, if you're board members, people say to you, and what do you do on the TASB board, or the whatever board it is, you know, the education board, the thing, sorry, I got the name wrong. You say, well, I'm a CJF. What's that? And you say, Chief Joy Facilitator. Now imagine if you reframe the job and you see it. See, these people are going, what a great idea. That's a fantastic idea. That'll remind me to focus on joy, to get more joy into the schools, which we need to do, and more joy into the community. But it's not ignoring everything else. These people are going, what about everything else? I'm not there for joy. I'm there for efficiency. I'm standing up for everything. I'm miserable, and I'm going to spread my misery and make everyone else miserable as well. Now, nobody does that consciously because they're unconscious of their thoughts this amount of time. But if you start to observe what's going on, really what's happening is that you are being run by these, look at the time, these core fears. So your mission, go forth, get rid of the fears, but everybody, here's one of the best tools that you can do for this. Everybody go like this for a second. Quick. If your Joy Buddy's not doing, slap them. Help them get into this. Now, put them over your eyes. Keep doing it. These are your gratitude glasses. Now, keep them on, keep them on. You're going to look at your Joy Buddy in a second. Sir, up the back. One moment. We have a person who's not joining in. Oh, look, there's a woman up there too. There you go. Look, two men, the ones that were comparing phone notes before. You think I can't see you? Yes, I can. So on the count of three, you're going to turn to your Joy Buddy and say, thank you. I am so grateful for you. And then, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. Ready? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3, go. Thank you. I am so grateful for you. So come on back, come on back. Now, these are my gratitude glasses. And you can get these, don't clap, we haven't got time. You can get these from, I don't know, Amazon, dollar store. Just go looking for them because they are phenomenally effective. Humans operate much better with symbols than they do with just words. And if you get a set of these, the next time you're in some district meeting or something, if you have these on the table, now don't just walk in with them on because they will think you've lost it. So you have to explain what they are. You have to say that we are going to be focusing on gratitude for the next semester and being grateful for the things that we do have, not focusing on what we don't have. And if you think about it, how do we teach children gratitude? We say to the children, say thank you to your brother. I said say thank you to your brother. That doesn't teach children gratitude. But if you have these on around the dinner table every night, should you ever get home for dinner, you guys, and you ask every person to say, what's the thing that happened today that you're most grateful for? Or with a good grammar. That starts to teach children about gratitude. If you do it in staff meetings, if you make everybody as a ritual answer the question, what's the thing you're most grateful for since we last met, you will transform any staff meeting you are in. If you have these on the table and they all know their gratitude glasses and they're a reminder to consciously find things for which to be grateful, if somebody starts grumbling, you pass these across the table and you say, would you like to tell us why you're grateful you've got a job? Now think about it. So if you go forth and you focus on joy and you focus on gratitude, then so many things change. And I have just a couple of sets here, and I'm just going to turn my back and throw them out into the crowd, and then throw them out into the crowd. And then there's a couple of little ones, and hopefully nobody's going to get a head injury. And then there are some, oh, sorry, I did get a head injury, sorry. Here are some joy buddies, you guys. Look alive, look alert. There they come. Duck. Oh, maybe I won't do that. Come there. Okay, so come and get them. Come and get them before I do a head injury. Everybody, quick, stand up, stand up. Get your phones out because scan that code. Would that text interfere with the scanning of the code? Okay, thank you. So stand up, because sitting gives you bowel cancer. And seriously, if you sit for more than 50% of your day, you've got a 60% higher chance of getting bowel cancer. So that'll take you to all the free stuff. And then stay standing. And then we're going to swap over to the CBC, CDC, CV. Anyway, those points that you want to get for continuing education credits. That's it. Okay, we can swap. There you go. CEC 3951. Focus in on that and you'll get your points. But before we leave this room, stay standing. I want you to walk around and, those of you who can stand, hug 3 different joy buddies. And while they're doing that, can we just have that music? Because everything, by the way, before we start the music, everything in life is about feelings. How you feel about yourself. It's the most important thing in life. How others feel around you. The feeling trail you leave behind you. So with a lot of feeling in your heart and gratitude, go hug 3 different people and then run. Don't walk to the next breakout session. You've only got 15 minutes, but hug 3 people on the way. Oh, thank you.